Hello, everyone, and welcome to Source Energy Collective. We are a transformational group devoted to helping seekers evolve through direct experience. We work with ancient tools of esoteric mastery,
holistic tarot, pendulum, and resonant dowsing, Akashic field readings, numerology, herbal wisdom, and the earth, moon, solar cycles that all shape human consciousness.
Our sessions bring clarity, alignment, and real energetic upgrades. Join our live Zoom gatherings to attune to cosmic timing, deepen your intuition and remembrance. This is a space for awakening, recalibration, and stepping into your highest timeline with guidance that actually works. We look forward to seeing you. Talk to you soon. Hi everyone, welcome to Source Energy Collective. I'm so glad you're here. Today what we're going to talk about is the 5th segment of the Build Your Foundation playlist that we have up on our YouTube channel. So in the previous videos we had 4 of them, and we spoke about pranayama, how building your foundation is the most important piece when it comes to any energy type of work. We spoke about the reason why that is. It's really because we want to be in our calm-centered state. This is not really possible unless you are in that calm-centered state. You want to be in the 0 point field. You want to be in the void, because when we are not, we have so much conflicting, chaotic energy around us that it really just kind of interrupts the work that we are trying to do. Also, this is very important when we want to receive any messages, because you can't really hear or sense or feel the subtle energies if you're just doing all the time, and if you're just kind of running all over the place and having 1,000 different thoughts. So that's really, really important, and that's why we put so much focus on the different pranayama breaths that we have discussed in the previous videos. So we discussed the Rajaka, which is really important to get back into the parasympathetic nervous system, vital. We also discussed the Nadi Shodhana and the Padadharasana for balancing our channels, which is also vital, especially because after this segment, we're going to be going up the chakra system, looking at each different chakras and clearing all the blockages around that, learning about that. And also we're going to use what they use in the East called the Chakra Dhyana and the Kundalini Arohanam to help you guys raise your Kundalini. Like I said, people that are on Source Energy Collective, we are all Shaktipat practitioners. We are able to raise other people's Kundalini because we have our Kundalini raised. But a lot of us are hesitant about that because it comes with a lot of responsibility, right? It is something that none of us feel comfortable charging for. It is something that it is us. It's our divine being. It's our birthright. I'm getting goosebumps. So it takes a lot of responsibility to nurture your Kundalini. It takes a lot of responsibility to keep it healthy. If you don't keep it healthy, you can get sick with blocked energy channels, and your Kundalini is swayed or skewed. So there's a big process in that. There is the Chakra Dhyana, which I'm more than comfortable showing you guys, as after this class we are going to again clear the chakras. I don't know if you're following my channel as well, our channel, not my channel, it's our channel. So what we're doing is we're following along with the comet, the 3-eye atlas. I'm getting so many messages about the comet. I feel very, very connected to the comet. So watch those meditations, because what's happening next is the comet. Comet was just in Virgo. We just had the new moon in Gemini, which was opposing the Sagittarius sun. That's expansion, right? A lot of downloads came in about Kundalini, about expansion, about the Padma. That's your gateway to the divine. So we are going to clear the road. Last meditation was about clearing the road, but in Build Your Foundation, we're going to do it on a deeper level. How are we going to do it on a deeper level? First, I'm going to talk to you about how to release traumas, which is what we're going to discuss today. So again, I'm winging it. I do have notes written down, but I just feel like sometimes when I wing it, it's just like it gets more information from, I don't know, it seems better. So we talked about the Nadi Shodhana, the Pradadharasana, the Rachaka. What else did we talk about? We talked about the fact that everything is energy. Emotions are energy. We talked about how those emotions get stuck in our body. We talked about how we're indoctrinated away from how we are supposed to be and how it is more healthy to be about expressing our emotions, processing our emotions, letting them flow out of us. We have been indoctrinated into culture and society that makes us like stuff them, which is very, very unhealthy. So a few weeks ago, we did the emotional release, right? And I wanted everybody to practice on a daily basis the ball method. During your day, if anything happens and you're getting that like hit of emotions that you don't really enjoy, we were going to get used to using the release ball method. It is actually called the release ball method, but so we were going to use that to get used to that. There's a lot of different names to it. It's pretty much Om chanting into the container of the ball, right? And in the container, you're going to put in all the things that are causing that emotional eruption in you. So that was last week. Last week, we also discussed what the difference is between a trauma and an emotion. So an emotion, I used the kind of visualization that it was water. So water is flowing, water flows out. Water is really easy to get rid of. You just let it flow out. You don't block it, so then it moves out of you, right? And using that technique is fairly simple. It's fairly effective with emotions, and it's really basic. You just put everything in the ball, you Om chant into it, you feel it lift, you check in, it's gone, and then it goes away. That is a really effective release method. Now, we also talked about the difference between an emotion and a trauma. So the trauma is something that you put identity to, or something you grabbed onto, something that was so incredibly intense that it just punctured your energy body, punctured your soul, and it sat there, and then it's like hardening, and it's not water. So what we have to do when it comes to trauma is we have to do a little bit of step work before we do that same method. We're going to use the same method to release the trauma, which is put it in the container, the ball, and Om chant into it. But we want to do a little bit of like pen and pencil work. So, like I said before, something can happen to you, something really intense can happen to you, say when you were 5, and it was so intense you didn't want to feel it, you stuffed it. It became a trauma. You captured it with identity, right? It became part of your identity as you were growing up. And then something similar happens to it, and then there's another layer on top of that, but it hits the same trauma because it's the same theme, right? So then there's like the trauma and then the layer, and then it continues on because you're vibrating at that vibration. The universe wants to give you more of that. Another thing happens, and then there's another layer until it brings you up till today. And so you have to do so much digging to get back to the first initial thing. And if you can find the first initial thing and release that, that whole trauma goes away. Kaput. It disappears, it gets neutralized, sent back to source and neutralized. You are no longer vibrating at that frequency, and you will no longer bring in more of those kind of events that are similar in the similar theme into your life, right? So what all this is it's kind of a simplified version of the trauma transcendence technique by Brad Johnson. You can find him on YouTube. So it's just got a lot of like explanations, so I kind of simplified it a little bit. So what it is in the technique itself, it says to go back into your earlier years, from the time when you were 0 to 7. Find those traumas, because when you find those traumas, those are the initial traumas that happen. If you can get those, it all disappears, right? Oh, another reason we're going to work with traumas and not emotions. You guys have released a bunch of emotions over this past week, but you can actually be there for years and years and years if you stay at emotions. So when you're releasing the traumas, it also takes out the emotions. That's why we're working with traumas, right? Okay, so yes, in the actual technique itself, it says to go back to your earlier years. For me, I'm just going to share my own experience with you. Is like I said before, I had a lot of counseling. I did a lot of step work. I worked really hard in getting rid of all these like inner demons, harder feelings, the traumas, the resentments, the grudges, everything, right? And it didn't really work, because when I finally got to the point where the universe brought me to my tower moment and I started to meditate, I would cry. I would cry and cry and cry. And my first perturbation that was really intense, I'll just share it with you now, is I immigrated here from a different country and we brought over a nanny. She was like a mom to me. Like, she was my mom. I loved her so much. And then she left when I was 5 without saying goodbye. So I attached trauma, I attached perception to it, I attached identity to it, right? And I can think about it now and not cry, because that was just like, maybe that happened maybe 3 years ago that I was able to do that. It hit me so hard. And so when I was growing up, I had a lot of like situations of abandonment, right? Situations where the universe would send me like guys that would abandon me, or guys that wouldn't be there, right? So as soon as I let go of that vibration, having gone within, it was still there. After all the counseling and all the step work, it was still there, and I worked on it, right? I would cry and cry. And then with this releasing technique, this energetic releasing technique, now I can tell you 100% it's gone. And the reason I'm sharing with you that story is because I want you to know that it has worked for me, and I've seen it work for so many people, right? So give yourself a break and let's do this. Let's get rid of those traumas so you can have a bit of a clean slate in your soul, right? And come back to who you were meant to be. So what do we do first? I couldn't remember a lot of the things from my childhood, so I had a really hard time going right back into 0 to 7, like it was impossible. I blanked it out. I didn't want to remember, right? So what I did, if you can go back to 0 to 7, like there are some big things that you can remember. You know, if you had a very yelly house, a house where if your parents like hit you, or if your dad left or your mom left, absolutely do those things. Do as many of the things from your early childhood as you can, right? For me, I went backwards. I had a situation that happens to me today, and then I would clear it, using the trauma, we'll call it the trauma transcendence technique, using the trauma transcendence technique, and then going back and back and back and back. So, how do we do this? So let's hypothetically say, since I shared that event that happened with you, let's do that event, okay? So say my nanny left when I was like 5, and then I grew up, and this is all hypothetical. Say, let's just use my nanny left when I was 5. So you write that down. You have a log line. Nanny left when I was 5, right? Just a topic. Very simple, very brief. Don't go into the whole, oh, it made me feel like this. You don't want to attach to the feelings of it. You want to be the observer. You just want to see it from above, right? You know what happened. We don't want, the more you attach to it, the harder it is to release it. So we want to just be very kind of detached away from it, looking at it like it's an event that happened in my life. Yes, it is. Honor it, but don't go right into the story. So my nanny left when I was 5. How did that make me feel? Write all this down. Topic line. Emotions. Did it hit anger, fear, sadness? Anger, fear, or sadness, right? Those are the core emotions that we're going to work with. If you don't agree with me that those are the core emotions and every other emotion falls into those core emotions, go ahead and write down all the other emotions that you want. You can stick as much as you want into that ball. So, nanny left when I was 5. I was so sad. So write down sad. I was scared I would never see her again. Write down scared. I was angry that she didn't say goodbye. So write down anger, right? All of them, I hit all of them. So then you go down to the next one and you do the trauma level. Now, the core traumas that we are going to work with are abandonment, rejection, abuse, addiction / escape, right? So let's do abandonment. Of course, it was abandonment. Write down abandonment. Rejection. Yes, of course, it was rejection. Write down rejection. We're using those as the core traumas. If you don't agree with me, again, you can write down as much as you want. Put it into the ball. What else was it? Rejection, abandonment, abuse. Did it hit abuse? It kind of did, because I was like asking questions, why, and I got in trouble for asking why. So that would be abuse. So put abuse in there. And then addiction. So yeah, escape. Now this, you bring yourself back to your childhood. And yeah, I had a really, really good way of escaping. I just kind of left, right? And I left my body. So we'll put down escape. So you have your emotions, your log line, you have your emotions, you have your traumas. So those are the first 3 steps in this release technique. Then what you want to do is write down, so you don't forget, I always forget this part, this problem is not mine. This problem is not mine, right? That's the next step. So the reason you say this problem is not mine is because you want to detach away from it, right? It was yours because you put identity, perception around it, you attach to it. But really, honestly, like, we live in a dream, you know? This isn't your soul's problem, you know? This is just like a fleeting kind of experience. So just saying this problem is not mine takes it away from you even that much more, so you can actually release it. The universe isn't going to release something that you're attached to, right? In any way, shape, or form. So we want to have that sort of like detachment away from it. So then after that, what you want to do is you want to drill down. Now the reason that we're drilling down is we want to, instead of feeling another situation that the universe is bringing you so you can release it, the reason they're doing it is so that you get back into that vibration of that event so you can release it. But there's another way. So what that other way is called is the drill down. Now, what you want to do is you take that log line. My nanny left when I was 5. Then you ask your question, then what? And then what? And then I was left alone. And then what? So write all those things down. And then I was left alone. And then what? And then I didn't have what I thought was my mom. And then what? And then that meant I was unlovable. And then what? And then that meant that I was alone. So now you want to keep doing that until you get back into the place where you hit shame, or you want to hit the feeling that you didn't want to be on this earth anymore, right? And that you wanted to die. Now, of course, it's a hypothetical situation. You don't want to be like, oh, it's okay, my nanny left, I'm just going to carry on. You want to dig down into the deepest, darkest kind of hypothetical situations as you can, so you can reach down into the place where you felt you did not want to be on this earth anymore. So even if you have to exaggerate. So then we have, that's called your drill down, right? And so what we do is we have all of the situation, then we put it all in the ball. And so how do we do that? Do you remember? You make the ball, you form the ball. I always like chant into the ball once I have it, so I charge up the ball, right, with source center vibration. So I go Om, Om, and then I put the log line in there. My nanny left when I was 5. Put it in there with intention. You just kind of feel it going in. Put down all those emotions, all those traumas, and every single ladder rung of the drill down method. I don't know when my hands are going out. This is gone. All of it. And once you have it all in there, what you want to do is you want to see the middle of that ball, right? It's full, it's heavy. You can feel into it. It feels heavy, right? So feel into it. It feels heavy. Om, chant right into the middle. Om, Om, Om. Check in with the ball. If it's still there, Om, chant 3 more times. Check in with the ball. If it's still there, Om, chant 3 more times. Check in with the ball. Do that as much as you can. You can literally feel it. Use your subtle energy vibrations, your feelings of the subtle energy, and just know you're right. Like, trust yourself, right? See, I forgot. So before you Om chant into the ball, when you're putting all that stuff in the ball, the log line, the emotions, the traumas, I missed a step. What you want to say is, this problem is not mine. This problem belongs to somebody else. And keep saying that until you feel that ball, that like cord attaching you to that ball leave you. You will feel it. Trust me. This problem is not mine. This problem belongs to somebody else, because we want a little bit of detachment away from the problem that we're holding in our hands. So then you Om chant into it until it's gone, right? So Om, 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 and then once you think it's gone, do it 3 more times. Om chant into it 3 more times, right? And then once it's really gone, feel what you feel, the expansiveness, the lightness. Relish in that feeling. This this is a really important step because it actually raises your vibration. And this is just my little step. I like to blow it away. And it's gone, right? So, and that is called the trauma transcendence technique. It is a little bit simplified. The full version that goes along with, like, there are parts about desires in there. I didn't put that in there currently. We will touch on that later on in another video, but this is good enough for now. I will put the link of the trauma transcendence technique book on the links below. So if you do want to learn more about like the desires and stuff, you can always do that. Now, one more thing. Remember how I said that I drilled backwards? So let's use the same example and say I'm in a relationship right now, and I don't know, my boyfriend just kind of took off and left, right? And I hadn't had cleared that nanny thing. So I'm going to do the whole technique on the boyfriend leaving without saying goodbye, emotions, the traumas that it hit. This problem is not mine. The drill down method, put it in the ball, Om chant it away, blow it away. But I know that there was a situation. I know that that was not the core of the trauma, right? Because I know this because it's happened to me before. So I go back to the times when it happened before, and I do the same thing with the time that it happened before. There's always a theme when it comes to situations that happen in your life, right? For this one is abandonment, but like say it was like rejection, or say it was like, yeah, let's say it's rejection. So let's say it hits rejection more than abandonment. So that's the theme. So I drill back into the theme of rejection. Maybe I got fired at a job. That's rejection, right? I Om chant into that one, do the whole technique around that one, and then I drill back even more. Maybe I go back into elementary school and everybody was picking little teams and I didn't get picked. And that was rejection, and it seems like little trivial now, be it as an adult maybe, but remember when you were a baby and a small child, right? And all you wanted to do was belong, and you felt rejected. That is getting closer to the core, right? So then you do that situation. And then you're like, okay, well, maybe there was something else that was in there as well. And then you hit the nanny, right? The nanny situation. That is the core right there. Maybe that's not the core. Maybe you had a father that kept saying, I'm leaving. Maybe that was the core, right? But just keep drilling back as far as you can until you can't anymore. Keep pulling those things out. And I'll tell you, these traumas, these vibrations, these situations that keep coming into your life will disappear because it is an inside job, right? Once you take those vibrations out, everything is vibration and frequency. Once you take out that, what you're vibrating at, your outside world will tend to mirror how you are on the inside. What else can I tell you? There was one other thing that I wanted to say, and I have to sneeze. Excuse me. I think that I can't remember what I was about to tell you. Keep a journal. I just lost my freaking journal. I don't know where it is after my move. I have to look for it. I think it's in the box with all my books. I don't have all my books. So I have to find my journal. But the reason you want to keep track of your journal is you want to keep track of your successes, right? You want to be able to say, oh my gosh, like I was that person and I was so sad and so anxious and so chaotic back then, and look at me now. You know, that's important, right? It's not an ego thing at all. It's just commemorating your success, right? And it's okay to feel good about yourself. It's absolutely okay to feel good about yourself. It's okay to shine bright. It's okay to pat yourself on the back, because that is what's going to raise your vibration, and that's going to make you know that this energy work, this stuff, works so much better than what we have in the 3D world. This is what I wanted to tell you. If you're watching this video and you keep going back and you're writing notes and you think you have all the steps down pat and you're just like, I don't even get it, send me a message. Our email is in the link below. We're able to coach people through their shadow work. There's a whole bunch of us that are trained at this in the coaching piece. You can reach out to us. You can join our Telegram group. There are so many different practitioners there that are more than willing to help you. And we don't have our website open right now. And honestly, like we just talked about it before, yes, there is such a thing as energy exchange. But you know what? Like, we don't want to prevent people from this path because of fucking money, right? So I'm not saying what's going to happen because we don't know. We're just talking about it, but we were talking about it like a sliding scale to honor ourselves, to honor the energy exchange, but also not to put a barrier in front of people. So if you are branching out into your shadow work and you need help, don't not ask for help, because you will get it. We will help you. And make sure you reach out to us. So I hope this was okay. I procrastinated making this video for so long because it was like I had all these different notes and how was I going to explain this and all this stuff, but it just kind of flowed. So I hope this made sense and that it's helpful for you. If you have any questions, please reach out to us and we would be more than happy to help you out. And then the next one we're going to do is we're going to clear chakras, and we're going to get ready for the opening of the Padma, and we're going to teach you the Eastern way of raising your Kundalini. So when the 3-eye atlas goes by Jupiter, and on the 19th with the solstice, and also with the new moon in Sagittarius, and the 3-eye atlas being right by the earth, that is also the second step, the expansion piece into the Padma, getting ready for March. It's very important. This is like crazy synchronistic, and there's no such thing as coincidences. You should look into it. It's pretty magical. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next class. We're going to start at the root chakra, talk about the root chakra, what blocks the root chakra, how do we find the root chakra, how do we clear the root chakra, and give you different tips and tricks on how to do that. So we look forward to seeing you then.